This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show. This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Mountain Glass Arts. For the month of June 2019, Mountain Glass is offering their Boro sale. They have North Star and Troutman rod first odds and seconds at 33% off. No coupon code needed. Just go in there and buy the glass, and the discount will automatically come off. And for all you beautiful soft glass nerds, they have their CBS Euro Boros 20% off. Just use the coupon code CBS at checkout. Also, don't forget to go to Mountain Glass Weekly to check out their weekly sales. Keep an eye on their Instagram. It's at Mountain Glass. And they also have some kiln sales and torch sales. They now have GTTs back in stock for anybody looking for those as well. And for everybody on the west coast of the country of the United States, they also have a brand new location out there in Oregon. So now you can find Mountain Glass both on the East Coast and the West Coast. Super exciting news. And for any other questions, comments, or concerns, just go to mountainglass.com. That's mountainglass.com. Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 216. This is your host, Jason Michael, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Feels good to be back. Had some pretty serious technological issues on my end. Both of my computers within 1 week both crashed. My laptop and my my main computer. And they're both back up and running, thank goodness. And so now I'm back to editing these shows. I had my lady friend, significant other, better half, edit the last Wise Guy Radio Minute episode. She's a podcaster herself and was kind enough to edit that show for me. And I was greatly appreciated because then I got that out. And now here we are with 216. So hope you are well. We're officially in summertime, and I don't know where you live listening to this, but if you live in Florida or somewhere along I don't know, I guess both coasts really right now at this point in time. It is sweltering outside. We're in like the high 90s right now here in central Florida. So it's just a reminder to make sure that if you are working during the daytime that you're staying hydrated. I mean, really no matter what time of day because it's hot as shit right now. That you're staying hydrated and you're having some snacks around that have some saltness to them. Because if you don't know, if you drink too much water, you deplete the salt from your system, and then eventually you just continue to become dehydrated because of losing the salt in your system, which you need for cell hydration and all that good stuff. So I would recommend a little pinch of some sea salt and a squirt of some lemon in your water. It's always refreshing, and that salt helps to get your cells all nice and opened up for you to get them hydrated. Just some things to think about while you're out there sweating your balls off. All guys and gals, us glass blowers, we all have balls since we play with fire and we enjoy burning and cutting ourselves on a daily basis, if you know what I mean. So that being said, it feels good to be back. It's definitely missed my microphone and missed talking to you. A lot of things going on behind the scenes here, which I'll get into in a second. But today's episode features Amy and Leanne Short of Glass Vegas. Amy is a co-founder and show manager, and Leanne is owner as well. And we have a fun little short conversation about Glass Vegas, some history of the show. We get into their Injured Artists Foundation fundraiser that they do every year, as well as next year's dates and time frame and everything, and also the new location for the 2020 Glass Vegas. They're going to be in their senior year 4, and super exciting. Working some things behind the scenes with them to have myself involved this year as well. And seems like with the trade show circuit and what's been going on out there, it's definitely, it's over, I think Champs has been around for 35, 40 years or something now. If I did a little research, I would know, but I know they've been around for a long time. And that being said, it's cool to see a trade show that is dedicated to the American glass artist, and it's not just the American glass artists, because they have other artists from around the world, but it's not an import show. And by import, I mean like knockoffs of American or other artists made in China or overseas and then shipped into said countries that they sell in and what have you at the trade shows. So we get into some fun conversations about that, and I definitely appreciated getting them on. I've been wanting to have them on for a while now, and it was an honor to get to pick their brains and chit-chat a bit. And this is going to be a quick episode. The interview is about 30 minutes long, so you'll have me rambling here, and then our interview, and then we'll be getting into our next week. Let's see, this is coming out on Monday, the 24th of June, and then the following week I will have the Wise Guy Radio Minute, episode 8. June 5th of this year was the official 4-year anniversary of this podcast, which is amazing. And thank you, anybody and everybody who's listened to the show. We have close to 200,000 downloads. For a small niche show as what it is, it's pretty big in the podcasting world. It's super exciting. And it's going to continue to grow and evolve. And that being said, we are going to be doing a complete name change and branding or rebranding of the show. Back when I first started doing this podcast, it was 3 days a week, with Mondays being like an artist. I think I did Monday's artist interview, Wednesdays was me just chit-chatting, and then Friday I would chit-chat and then bring on a specialist, whether it was someone that dealt with law and within our industry or a doctor or whatever. And I'm going to go back to that concept, not a 3-day-a-week show, but really focusing on being there for you, the glass artist, with anything and everything that you need, from not only just to artist stories, but also to selling your work, to understanding and staying up to date with the laws. Luke Zimmerman is going to be coming on pretty soon to update us on the current events of what's been going on out there in the cannabis industry across the nation, as laws have changed, with legalities changing and going from medical to recreational, and there's a lot of things that are going on that we need to understand. Going to be talking a lot of marketing and business talk again. As I'm just getting my ducks in a row, and I'm going to be sharing some of my journey, what's going on right now behind the scenes here as well. And then just getting into some just health talk and just some fun discussions out there, because you can make glass all day long. And I know a lot of artists right now are struggling with the way this industry has kind of gone. It's ebbs and flows. It's like any other industry out there. There's always ebbs and flows. There's trends, and then, just got to ride the waves. And those of you out there that can continue to ride the wave, even if you have to get a part-time job to help supplement your income, in the end, we all, all the ships rise together in a sense, and we all stay together as a community, and we grow, and we learn together, and we educate our consumers, and then we continue to make our money and grow and become even more successful financially. And again, success is all being defined differently these days by anybody and everybody. We all have, what we think is success, and isn't always monetarily. But that being said, I'm excited for what's going to be happening. I want to reveal the name of the show right now, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to be posting on Instagram here pretty soon. I've actually got 3 names I'm going with that I'm going to be kind of surveying you all out there, seeing what you think and feel. And also behind the scenes too with the YouTube stuff, I got episode 1 up, the top 5 reasons why you should not be a glassblower. And every single fucking day that I went to go record, which part of my recording is outside, because I want to show you what my studio setup's like, because that's what the first episode that is now going to be continuing through this YouTube show is setting up your studio. It rained every single day. I mean, like all my days off, it was torrential downpour. We had rain pretty much every day for 2 weeks. And so now that we have super sunny, hot weather days, I can now get back out there and record. So my next episode is going to be coming out, which is the continuing series. I guess I'd say really the beginning series of anything and everything you're going to want to know about what it takes to become a glass artist and set up at home. For those that have never done it before, if you're already established, you'll understand. Maybe you'll see some things you didn't think about, some simple things that I do, because my studio setup is very simple. I don't try to get too crazy with it, just on a budget sense of things, but also because I'm not really out there on a full-time basis like I used to be. So it's still safe, and it's still a functional space, and all that good stuff in my creative flow. But you don't need to spend $10,000 on a standard basic glass blowing studio. It also depends on your situation. But also going to be doing a series. I'm going to have a variety of series on this YouTube channel in terms of the, what do we call them? I don't even fucking I'm having a brain fart. But one of the series I'm going to be doing is covering the history of the glass companies, the color glass companies in our industry, in the Boro world, internationally for that, but a lot of mostly in the States. So I posted up on Instagram asking you all what your top 10 favorite colors are. It's one of my questions I have in my Crash in a Kiln round, which I'm compiling all that information from the last 4 seasons of the show as well. And I'm going to be doing an episode on the top 10 favorite colors that are out there right now. And then I'm going to be doing an individual series on each color company, covering their history and what they produce, and some of the behind-the-scenes turmoil that happened with, like, say, North Star and the Glass Alchemies and all these other, for those that have been in this industry as long as I have, I know there were some interesting things that were going on out there in the color world. And so I'm going to be getting into all that and the history of that type of stuff. And also going to be covering a series on the history of glass in general, going back all the way back to the days of the Egyptians. I've been doing a lot of research lately and finding some really fascinating information, stuff that I was aware of, but also a lot of stuff that I had no idea about, which is I'm pretty stoked to share. So we're going to be doing a lot of different various YouTube shows. A lot of the YouTube stuff out there covers technique and tutorials, and of course I want to do that, but really what I want to really focus on is educating you, the listener and the viewer, on the glass itself, on the material that we use. This fascinating, weird, mystery, beautiful material that we take and melt and turn into objects of art and things that people hold on for as long as they can and love and enjoy and use. So I think it's something that you will enjoy there as well. So also some things going on out there in the world of glass, and just recently we had the DFO just had their 10-year family reunion. They just had happened from June 8th to the 9th. Just from a distance watching what was going on, it looked pretty amazing seeing the top caliber artists in the pipe industry coming together for this big reunion and showcasing their works, working together in teams and doing all kind of fun build-offs and stuff. The DFO's been around for a long time, and they had to take a break for a while because of the limited space that they had because of how popular it became. It just they kind of outgrew the space in a sense. So they were able to find a new space this year. I think it was last year as well. They were in the same location, I think. I should have done a little more research on it. But I do know that this year was fantastic. Some other things going on. The American Scientific Glass Society is having, or just had their symposium at the Corning Museum. It was held from June 12th until the 20th. And they covered all topics of glass blowing itself, flame working and lathe work as well, and getting into the nitty-gritty techniques and aspects and the history of scientific glass blowing. I've had Mike Souza on the show in the past, and he was fascinating to talk to, and was a pleasure to have him on. And he's somebody I've been wanting to bring on again, and just with the way my schedule's been and just kind of slacking on contacting people, he's somebody I want to be bringing back on. I've talked about it several times about doing a myth-busting show with him because of his knowledge that he has. He's a glass blower for Princeton University, and I just read that he recently just put in his retirement notice with them to let them know that this is going to be, I think 2020 is his last year, if I remember reading it correctly. But I will definitely get that from him, and him and I will talk about that on the show as I bring him back on here shortly. And we have a long list of guests to contact and to reschedule and to get back on here. Now that my schedule at work has balanced itself back out again, I'm back on a regular routine, which has been a blessing, because before the last 3 weeks, my schedule's been all over the place, and I'm such a routine person. When my schedule is not in check, it throws me off. It's so crazy. So anyways, the Scientific Glass Blowing Society just had their symposium held at Corning, which is pretty rad. And speaking of Corning, they just recently announced that Netflix is going to be sharing the first ever glass blowing competition on Netflix called Blown Away. It's a 10-episode show that airs July 12th, featuring 10 artists. And basically, it's going to be an elimination show. I'm not sure the exact caliber of how this is going to work. I don't know if it's going to be a 10-person team build or how they're going to do it, but I know that there's going to be a winner at the very end of this. So the winner of Blown Away is going to be awarded the title of Best in Blow, which is pretty damn funny, and a prize package valued at $60,000. And this includes a week-long guest appearance at the Corning Museum of Glass. The winner will complete 2 working sessions this summer, July 17th and 18th, as well as August 28th and 29th, in preparation for the Blown Away residency, which happens from October 14th through the 18th. And during these times, the winner will be participating in glass demonstrations for the public at the Corning Museum of Glass's Amphitheater Hot Shop. And then this summer, the Corning Museum of Glass is going to be displaying an exhibit called Blown Away, Glass Blowing Comes to Netflix, which tells the story of how the museum found its way into the global spotlight, and works created by the competitors will be on display. And they're also going to be showing some videos and showcasing some of the behind-the-scenes things of what all went on there, which is pretty cool and exciting. So it's fun to see. I know that our friends up at Cherry Glass, they put on the Tournament of Fire, the online Instagram social media competition, which was a huge success this year. And we've been talking about something of this nature for the pipe industry for a couple of years now. So stay tuned for the next year of Tournament of Fire, because it'd be nice to see this on Netflix or some kind of form of television that can expose the world out there to what is going on inside the pipe industry. I was talking to somebody the other day, an artist that was familiar with the pipes, and just talking about the technical side of what goes into being a pipe maker and some of the creative aspects of what's going on out there. And I still say it all the time. I think some of the most incredible, talented, technical artists in the world are pipe makers. It's just incredible seeing what's going on. And as we all know, those that mess with this material know that it's pretty difficult stuff, and it has a mind of its own at times, and can be a real kick in the balls. I want to share also some things going on with our Patreon group. I'm going to be adding a couple new things to the group. Right now we have a $1 a month, a $5, and a $10 group that you can be in level-wise. Each of these levels gives you access to certain content and exclusive stuff. The $1 a month support, which is $12 a year, if you ever want to help support this podcast, every little penny that I make from the Patreon group goes right back into the show. I'm saving up right now the funds to buy myself a new computer. That way my laptop that I have now, the memory's all full on it, more or less, and I need to upgrade this thing so I can continue to do the show on the road. And so any of the funds I'm making from the Patreon group are going to be going right into buying myself a new laptop. That way I can edit shows and what have you, even when I'm at work. On my break, I can get this stuff rolling and do research and continue the content creation. So for $12 a year or $1 a month, you can help support the show. That gives you discounts. It not only helps you're supporting the show, but it gives you discounts on merchandise that we're going to be releasing here soon for the podcast, and all the merchandise, all the funds from that go right back on the show as well. And then you get a little sticker pack and some fun little goodies from me as well. The $5 a month group used to get the merchandise discount. Only the $1 a month group did not, but now the $5 a month also gets the merchandise discounts. But they're also going to be getting the audio portions from all of the video content for the YouTube shows. So if you want to, I know a lot of times when we have YouTube on, it's not always easy to watch, and to have the audio content, it's going to be actually formatted for audio. What I'm going to be doing, I'm going to take the audio content off of the shows and then edit it for your listening pleasure, so you can take it on the go or while you're at the torch and you can't watch your phone or iPad or whatever you have to watch YouTube on. So the $5 a month will have that, and that's $60 a year. It's not that much in terms of out of pocket, but it also helps support the show tremendously. You have no idea, even $5 a month helps support the show. And then the $10 a month, those guys that are in there right now, they have all the above I just mentioned, plus they have exclusive access to content that I'm creating, video lessons and tutorials, some insights of what's going on with me at work, just some fun stuff. And for $120 a year, you'll have access to this video content and everything else, the discounts, the merchandise, the audio content from the YouTube channels, all that good stuff that I'm creating behind the scenes. And then the newest one I have is the $50 a month group. And what this is going to give you is access to the Wise Guy Institute, plus everything else above that. The Wise Guy Institute is my online course that has been in development for about 3 years now, and we're at the very end of about to put this thing live. I have 3 guys that have already paid for the classes and have been super patient in me getting this together. And I'm excited to get this rolling. The first course is an introduction into sculpture class. It covers everything and anything that you'd want to learn for some basic beginning sculptural techniques. For those that already have experience with glass, even if you only have a little bit of experience with glass, this is going to take you through the process. What you're going to learn from these courses is everything from basic manipulation of borosilicate glass or any kind of glass in general for creating a shape, creating attachments, assembling, what have you. It's also, I have basically a lecture and a lab setup. So the lecture is a whiteboard demonstration where I'm showing you in a drawn form how to create this stuff out of glass, or in glass basically, but by putting it on paper first. It's also a kind of a basic introduction into drawing simple forms using geometric shapes and that kind of stuff. Because I know a lot of us out there, not myself included, but just glass artists that I've talked to that can't draw and have had issues with creating their work because they don't have an opportunity to plan it out on paper first because of their drawing skills are very basic. So this class, the lecture side, is teaching you some basic fundamental drawing skills. And then you get into the actual lab class, which is the hands-on glass demonstrations. We have a lot of different angles and shots that we've got. My buddy John, who's my co-producer for this, has been on board. We've been doing video work on Thursdays, and I'm actually, after I finish recording this, going to be doing all the voiceover for all the videos. And then he's going to finish the edits, and then these things will be up in live. So we're super excited about that. And the course basically covers 5 different items you'll be making. The first being a manatee, then you're going to learn how to make a dolphin, then you'll learn how to make a fish, then a turtle, and then an octopus. And then week 6 is going to be creating a reef, where you're going to be individually making all these items and then assembling them into one kind of put together group of things in a composition. And also, the way I'm working this classes out is that you will not be able to go on from, say, week 1 to week 2 until I pass you and give you the next password for week 2. Every lesson is password protected on the website, so you can't even access it and see what's going on. And the way you'll be passed is that we'll be doing a weekly conference call individually with each artist that is in the class, discussing any kind of issues you may be having with the work. We can do a one-on-one video over Skype or FaceTime or what have you. And then on Friday, or whenever you have an opportunity to complete the lesson, I'll then have you take a picture of what you made or a little video. And if I feel you're ready for the next lesson, then you'll pass on to the next lesson. And the reason I did these specific animals to make is because I really feel this in terms of a nice progression of knowledge that you're going to be learning technique-wise. The manatee is a very simple shape. It has some arms you got to attach. You got to create some details in the face, but overall it's very simple. Then you get into a dolphin, which is a little bit different shape than the manatee. Similar kind of ideas though, attaching fins cleanly, that kind of technique-wise. The fish is the same way. And then you get into the turtle, which is another thing. You're going from a round shape to a stretch shape to a flattened shape to a somewhat flattened shape. And then you get into the octopus, which is multiple attachments. And the octopus is really tricky because this is one that you're going to really learn how to control the heat in your glass, because as you're putting on tentacles, the head of the octopus is getting cold. There's things that you have to be able to pay attention to as you really learn how to create these objects. It's also lessons in the process. One of the hardest things to learn in glass blowing is the process, going from A to Z and the path to get there. And part of the goals with this course is to develop a thinking process and teaching you how to make a plan of attack on paper first before you even go into the glass to save you heartache. It's obviously, even if you do it on paper, it doesn't mean it's always going to come out in the end, but it just makes things a little bit easier for you in a sense. And it's been something that I've dreamt about and have been excited to get rolling, and I'm like beyond excited to have this thing finally almost completely done. And then from there, we're going to be developing more classes, doing blown glass courses, a lot of fun stuff. And again, you can have access to these classes for $50 a month, which is about $600 a year, which is roughly about what the course costs to take. So you can check out all that stuff and information on it at wiseguymedia.com. And you can also help us out by, again, if you want to join our group on Patreon for as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show or have access to other content on there for a little bit more every month. And then also, if you have an iPhone and could leave us a 5-star review or whatever you feel the show deserves, as well as a written review. Haven't seen any new written reviews in a while. And all that does, for one, gives me feedback on how I'm doing on this show, but it also allows iTunes out there and the great algorithms of the world and technology that the show is being listened to and interacted with, and we'll tell them that, and then it helps to expose the show to more people out there in the world, as well as it just exposes us to the world, really, when it comes down to it. So my last review I had was from Mr. Mezer, and his comment was, you gotta love Wise Guy Radio. This show is awesome. Bless up. Thank you so much. And that was back in November 29th, 2018. So anybody that can leave a review would be amazing, and I will be giving you shout-outs. Let's see, who else here? Gilligan1050 gave us 5 stars, said loves this show. Absolutely loves this show. It covers every aspect of blown glass, techniques, sales, marketing, as well as the emotional and personal aspects of who we are as artists. Keep up the great work, Jason. Thank you so much. And then we had Corruptor D, gave us 5 stars. Says, I've been listening for about a year now, ever since I bought my first torch. Jason has got it going on with this show. Endless amounts of information about the industry, its players, and even some secrets. I've never really listened to a podcast, but Wise Guy Radio. I've never really listened to podcasts, but Wise Guy I listen to all the time, even to previous episodes while on the torch, because it's a huge encouragement and motivation to hear the struggles of not only the big names, but also smaller guys and how they make it work. Glass is not easy, but it's a passion that I made major life changes to learn. And glass is not easy, but it's a passion that I made major life changes to learn and make it work no matter what the cost. Wise Guy Radio has been a huge help to making it, and slowly but surely I am. Thanks, Jason Michael, for this podcast. Keep it up. Treat it like glass and not stop. Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. So, again, if you want to leave us a review, it would be huge and helpful, and greatly appreciated at the same time. So, but we have gotten 61 5-star reviews. We have a 5 out of 5 rating right now, which is fucking awesome. So thank you, everybody who has left a review on there. Definitely greatly appreciated so much. So until next time, if you have any other questions, comments, concerns, you can hit me up at wiseguymedia@gmail.com. I have that link in the show notes. I also will have all the links for all the fun stuff I referred to earlier, as well as links to the Glass Vegas trade show that is coming up here, again, January 28th to the 30th. They discuss at the end of the show on how you can get yourself in there and sell your works. And until next time, I hope you enjoy this episode. And again, the next official episode that will be coming out for this podcast will no longer be called Wise Guy Radio. So you'll notice a change in the logo as well as the name, but it'll still be the same voice behind the mic. So until next time, thank you so much. Make sure you're staying hydrated out there. It is hot as hell, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a wise day. Love you so much. Peace. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. So we have Amy and Leanne here. Are you guys co-founders of the trade show together, or how'd this whole thing get started with you guys?
Well, we'll go ahead and let Leanne, the owner, go ahead and start on that conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Well, starting out, our involvement in glass trade shows goes back to 25 years ago with the Glass Craft and Bead Expo.
Okay.
A few years down the road after we started that show, we started including bead making. So we were bringing in bead making and a little bit of boro started coming in, and we started having relationships with some of these artists. We had Bob Snodgrass teaching for us and exhibiting. We had quite a few of the current artists were involved in the flame off that we had. And we just developed a relationship with the artist who came to us one day and said, we know how you run trade shows. We'd like to see you running a trade show for the pipe industry.
Nice.
And that's really how it started. It's a family-owned business. I bought the business when the former owner passed away 10 years ago.
Okay.
And we've got a lot of family members working here. And Amy is my daughter, youngest daughter.
Nice. Yeah, it's fun having the family involved like that.
Yep, it is. It's awesome.
That's cool.
So, yeah,
So you guys are going into your 4th year now?
Yep, this will be our 4th year. Leanne, as she said, she's the owner, and then I manage the show and do a lot of other things for the show as well, entertainment and the demos and all that. So yeah, that's but we have a team that is so supportive of us. We've got Teddy Campos, who is our creative director and design. And then we also have Sky Jones, and she does a lot of marketing for us. And she does so many other things. She's also our registration manager on site. And then we've got Dustin Amato. He does marketing for us and, many other things, as well as Dustin Amato is Official Genius. Then we also have Jack Long, and he's from Dope Ass Distributors, and he helps with a lot of the buyers and different portions of our company. And then we also have Jeff Keating, which is in our design department, and he does a lot with our social media and design. And then we have Jennifer Pachon, and she does our World Series of Glass. So we're a pretty tight-knit ship. It's not too many of us that really are on the groundwork of Las Vegas. We have a lot of people that are involved and things of that nature. But yeah, it's we're a tight-knit group that's definitely pretty much all like family, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's so important too having a team around you. That everybody's on the same page. It just keeps everything going so much smoothly, and being able to delegate certain tasks and jobs to make things function. Because I've heard, because I actually personally have not done a trade show yet, and when I worked at Disney for the last 7 years, I haven't it's not that I have a need for it. It just financially wise, I have a job, so it's not like I have the time really to go do trade shows and stock up over a whole 6 months to a year's worth of stuff. But having been involved with this industry for 20 years and hearing people talking and the evolution of, because back in the day before Disney, my glass was sold at the Champs trade show for about 10 years. I didn't sell it myself, but I had a wholesaler, and I was exclusive for him. But and then seeing the ages come along and what have you, and then just hearing stories of the horror stories of some of these trade shows that were quote unquote for the American glass artists, that really behind the scenes truly that wasn't the whole philosophy and motto. And then you guys came along, and I've heard nothing but praise from everybody that I've talked to about your trade show. Not only how you guys are performing the show as a business, but also the things you're doing for the community on top of it. Which I think is awesome. It's just something that's been needed for a long time. I know Glassroots, he's been doing some stuff for years, helping the artists and stuff. But I think the organizational side of what you guys have going on now seems like being your senior year in a sense. And I know it takes 4 to 5 years to figure shit out. So you seem like you know what you're doing, which is important. And having the past experience too, really helps.
Thank you. A lot of that does come from Leanne and Moms and her experience in the trade show industry. And like she had talked about for Glass Craft and Bead Expo, we just completed our 25th year, and it's a lot to be said for that, especially through tough times. She's always respected the artist, and I've been lucky enough to work with her the past 6.5, almost 7 years now, and now that we're on this other endeavor with Glass Vegas. But she's been doing this for a long time, and she's been supportive of the Boro industry since it's become real prevalent and strong. And the flame off that she's briefly spoke about was really actually a pretty big deal in 2009, the International Hot Glass Flame Off that she had done. It was a part of Glass Craft and Bead Expo, but she was basically wanting to showcase to the world that Boro makers and pipe makers, that they are every bit of an artist as those that do not make pipes, and some even more so.
Yeah, I agree.
Some of the greatest American art is being made by pipe makers right now. and has been for years. It's just, been underground for so long. So she was a big part of trying to put that out in the forefront of the industry and support that, even though it wasn't continually supported. And, even though Glasscraft and Bead Expo was not a piping show, she always supported the pipers. And we had a couple piping classes and, always had a lot to do with Boro, and teaching those classes and everything. But it's a whole different show, It's built in a whole different arena. So that's why Glass Vegas, came about. Like she had mentioned, we'd had a couple of really prevalent glassmakers came to her and said, hey, we really admire the way that you treat artists and the way that you run your show with integrity. And we'd hope that you'd be interested in crossing over. And that's exactly how Glass Vegas was born,
Yeah, it's amazing. Do you have, and over the years, I mean, getting started, especially doing it, trying to figure out a time frame to put these on with all these other trade shows going on, like logistically behind the scenes, were you guys trying to was it more of just kind of a trial and error, trying to figure out to make the time count? Because I know artists, they want to go out to Vegas and make their time and trip count. So if you have 4 trade shows in a week, it's beneficial, but it's also can be kind of counterintuitive at the same time.
It's a difficult balance. We knew that the artists and the buyers like to be able to hit a couple of shows in one trip. Used to be that some of the shows just were crossed over by a day or two. So that was our original goal, and we were hoping to have some cooperation because we felt it would be good for the industry. But the group that we've been able to have the most success with is the Tobacco Plus Expo, and we have partnered with them. We started last year with our dates being exactly the same,
okay.
And we're working with them again this year because it gives the smoke shops and the other buyers the opportunity to get everything they need in one trip. They can go to both shows, cross over. There's no charge for entrance. One badge gets you into both shows. So,
because we focus on the high-end glass majority,
Yeah.
So we have a couple apparel and things like that, of course, but I'd say that we're 85%, if not 90%, completely heady glass, and that's why it's so important for us to be lined up with someone else, in the industry, because we need the buyers, to be able to get everything for their shops, not just the heady glass,
Yeah, exactly.
So it really works out that way. Yeah, we had tried to make that happen with other industry shows, but it just didn't, like Leanne said, it didn't work out that way. And so we found somebody who did, and that was TPE. And it was actually the buyers' increase last year was exponential for both them and for us too. A lot of our,
awesome.
yeah, it was a great thing. So then it becomes, a lot of people don't really understand the fine balance that it is to figure out where you're going to hold your show, what date you're going to hold your show. There's so many things that come into play. Are the dates available? Is there, we don't have a lot of median hotels currently right now to exhibit at and have space, that can handle a show like ours. So, but also somebody not like the Cosmo that's going to be crazy ridiculous, and all of our artists and everyone won't be able to afford to be there. It defeats the purpose. So
yeah.
It's a real fine balance in finding what really works for our artists and buyers alike. And sticking with TPE at this point has really been something that seems to be super beneficial. So hence one of the reasons why we are moving to Bally's this year, and we switched our dates a little bit earlier. Typically, we're at first week or second week of February, and this year we're going to be January 28th, 29th, and 30th at Bally's. So we feel that this is going to be a good move for us,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It was lining up with TPE, and the Westgate didn't have the right dates for us at the time, so that we're going to line up with them. So we made the decision to go to another hotel, which we think will have several benefits for everybody.
Another thing that's really important to us, because we know how important it is to our artists, is to have a property that will, and a general contractor that will allow us to let the artists move their own product in. Um, Drayage charges are killer to a lot of shows, and if you're not able to bring your own product in on wheels, because you know how heavy glass is.
Yeah.
If you can't bring it in yourself, the charges that would be incurred in some of the properties that won't allow that to happen just are not feasible for most artists. They need to be able to carry it in, wheel it in, and take care of it on their own.
Well, yeah, some artists and exhibitors, depending on what they're bringing in, can end up spending way more on, like Leanne said, those drayage charges and having to use union as opposed to, us being able to use our own contractor. And there's very few hotels that will actually let you do that. The convention center, absolutely not. They're going to charge you, no matter what. So that's another part of the fine balance that we try to achieve to make sure that everything is as wonderful as it can be.
Yeah, I had no idea that was even an issue. Something I never even thought about. So it makes sense though, because I've done trade shows outside of the pipe industry, and they definitely were like, they want to set your stuff up because they want it to look a certain way or be a certain way or what have you, and make sure you're not screwing their floors up and all that kind of stuff. How do you guys go about with the whole open flame thing and the competitions?
Well, we are able to work that out with the fire marshal. We have a great relationship with the fire marshal. Nice. Because we do 15 rooms of torch classes at Glasscraft and Bead Expo. So the Clark County Fire Department is very well versed in what we do, and they know we've got an excellent track record. So we're just making sure that everything is done correctly to code and safe, and we get our permits without a problem.
That's awesome. So I know, like around here, and I know a lot of places, even opening a brand new studio, they have issues getting permitting and stuff, much less having 100 glass artists with open flames and tanks and everything else going on. So it's pretty rad.
Yeah. Well, luckily, the only thing we do have open flame for at Las Vegas is for the demos. Mm-hmm. We're not having any teaching classes at this point in time.
Yeah, because Glasscraft and Bead Expo, our other show that's been running 25 plus years, the other major component of that show is our education. So we've got over 80 different instructors teaching everything you can basically imagine to do with glass, ranging from boro to fusing to you name it, stained glass. And we offer over 250 specialty glass classes over the range of 5 days by those 80 plus instructors.
Wow.
So, and like Leanne said, how many boro teachers? We have about 20.
Right. We use 15 rooms, and mm-hmm. we have a couple of them that have 1 or 2 or 3 different teachers, depending.
Yeah. Huh. Eli Mazzei, Josh Mazzei being one of them, Philip Vogopol, some greats in the industry for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. We want to something I was wondering, curious about too, is how you guys started the Injured Artist Fund, which I think is spectacular that you guys are doing this. Because I know wasn't JD Mabelson? He was one of the recipients of it 2 years ago.
Yeah, he definitely was, and JD was real instrumental in that. So basically, us Glass Vegas as a team wanted to figure out a way that we could really give back to the artists. And honestly, one of the things that really inspired that was Allison at the Michigan Glass Project, and Glass Roots, mm-hmm. Nick Devley, how they do their silent auctions, and they have everybody that donates their pieces. And of course, that's a lot more about what their show is about for Michigan Glass Project, as the charity and giving back and putting art back in schools. But just watching what they did with everyone donating all the pieces, and then at the end doing the live auction and the amount of money that they were able to raise. And we thought, we can do something like this, for the industry. So, as a team, we all started thinking about different ideas and things that we could do. And we came up with the Injured Artist Fund, because a lot of the times there's artists that has something happen, especially in our industry, how much we use our hands. And when you guys are blowing glass and artists, it's like, it's detrimental that if something happens, you break your wrist, you break your arm, and it kind of it spans out a little further than that too, depending on the emergency. Some people have, lost their loved one that they can't cover funeral expenses, or there's many different reasons why an artist can be incapacitated to work. And
if their studio burns up.
Exactly. Like greasy glass, if their studio burned up, and JD Mapleson had a surgery, and even though it wasn't a large amount, he was able to be a recipient from the Injured Artist Fund, and he was able to heal the correct way, so that he didn't have to go back to work too soon because he's stressing about his bills, and he could actually listen to his doctor and his therapist and go about things in the correct way. And man, let me tell you, JD really, really, really showed how grateful he was, because he went for it last year, and during the whole entire show, he went around and he had gotten so many different people to be a part of it that had no idea about it before, and shared his story. And there's something to be said for someone who shares their personal story, about an experience like that. And we more than doubled the amount that we had made the year before. So now we're in the process of actually licensing it to be a 501c3, and we were able to help a lot more people this year.
Fantastic.
Every single bit of the money goes towards either licensing it to be a 501c3, and every last cent goes back to the artist. Yeah. So it's really amazing. Yeah, we were able to help 5 different people this year. And in hopes that those, a couple of those people will come back for Glass Vegas next year and rally just like JD did, and make it, continue to grow every year. This could really be something special,
Yeah, it's fantastic. I applaud you guys for doing this. And I had JD on the show right before he had his surgery, and we talked about his accident he was in and the issues he was dealing with. And we talked a lot about that. And just myself recently, I had a lower back strain, and because of my job, I have vacation time, so I was able to take the time off. And I've been doing these little short shows called the Wise Guy Radio Minute, maybe like a 4-minute episode. And I did an episode on that exact thing. Like, it's so important to be able to put, even a 4-day emergency fund away so you can help cover yourself, so you can recover. Because there's nothing worse than being out there hurting and worrying about bills. It's just, can't heal properly.
Right. And the thing is that with glass blowers too, it's like, there's not, insurance and things like that. It's a different kind of industry as opposed to everything else. So it's, you're working for yourself, so you're really ultimately responsible for every last thing. So it really makes it tough when things are rough, and I don't know, I've always been taught about charity from my mom and my dad personally, and always had a really, really big part of my heart for charity. I actually have a Christmas charity that I do for some of the less fortunate kids out here at Christmas, and deliver presents Christmas morning. And it's just the more that you can do for people, but also taking care of yourself at the same time, it's your life just is better. It's all about taking care of each other. And we're in this life together, so it's kind of like, you can't just worry about yourself. We all get along by being a part of a team. Just like Las Vegas. Las Vegas wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for Dustin, Jack, Sky, Teddy, Jeff, all of us, Jennifer, all of us put together. We all have our own expertise that we bring to the table, and it's just, we all have different ideas, and, one of us might think something will work, and the other person is like, oh, wait, no, I've tried that before. This doesn't work out, oh, yeah, you're right, you're right. It's just that team effort, teamwork makes the dream work. Absolutely, it does,
Yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful things with the community in general. As we're all kind of these little, loner, introverted type of people. I'm pretty extroverted myself, but a lot of us are in our cave all the time. But we also are, we're constantly taking care of each other, and I love seeing it. All the auctions that go on. I've been a part of a lot of auctions where I've been able to get a lot of money for my glass. I've actually gotten more money for my glass through auctions than I have personally trying to auction it for myself to pay my own bills, which is fine by me. You know what I mean? Like, I love when that happens. So it's it's kind of cool just to see this big love wheel continuously just constantly going around and around, and everybody's taking care of each other.
It is awesome. Even at the DFO, I had some pretty big artists talking about some big piece that they haven't even sold yet, that they were all thinking about if it hadn't sold in the next couple of months, they were wanting to donate it to the Injured Artist Fund, things like that.
Too cool.
Yeah, it's the amount of love that people are pouring into it by donating a piece at the show. And we'll even take pieces, throughout the year and hold it up until the silent auction at the show. And then do that too. As it grows, we're building more of a structure for the Injured Artist Fund to make it more successful, and it's growing and it's awesome. Yeah, really, really honored to be able to be a team and do that together for the industry.
Yeah, it's I think it's just one of the small pieces of the puzzle for you guys that is one reason why this community loves what you guys are doing and helping everybody out.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. Well, before I let you guys go, if you want to give us some details for the artists that are interested in selling at their wares at your show, if you guys want to, if you have dates and like registration times, frames and stuff, and I can put all this stuff, links to the website and all that stuff in the show notes for you guys to
definitely
make sure everybody's on board with this.
Definitely. What we're asking for artists to do right now, because we are still about a week and a half out from doing our first right for refusal for a boost space from our artists that had got boost last year.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is at the end of this month, the end of June, we'll send out an email to all of our exhibitors from last year, giving them, because we're switching spaces, it'll be a similar space to what they had from last year. And then they'll be able to look at the floor plan and say, yes, we want to go ahead and get that space, or we'd rather wait for a couple weeks and then see what else is out there, from what other people have let go. So then what we'll do is we'll let that go for about 3-4 weeks, and then we'll give everybody 2 weeks that wants to switch their booth space up. And then I would say we'll probably start getting to our waiting list. It's probably not going to be till a little bit later this summer for sure. Because if we get here, I'd probably say we'll be doing first right until the end of July, mid-August. So, yeah, waiting list is probably going to be the end of August. Around August, September is when everybody will start to hear from us for the spaces that are open, And
if you're not on the waiting list, you can go online on the website and get put on the waiting list.
Yep, if you go to www.glass.vegas and then go to the exhibitor tab at the top, and then it has exhibitor waiting list right there. So make sure to put in your name, your glass name, your email, and a good phone number to contact you. And then, you'll start hearing from me when it's your turn on the list sometime in August, late August, early September.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'll make sure I'll put that link in the show notes for the actual link to the sign up for the sign up form and everything.
Yeah, and we'll put a post out there too, on Facebook. Hey, exhibitors from last year, check your emails. We're sent through the first right, because it does come through email. There's no real, other way to do it. So how it's hard to get everybody to check their emails. Yeah. So make sure you check your emails, guys.
Yeah, I deal with the same thing, so I know what it's like.
Right.
And just one kind of detail I was wondering about this year with the new space is because I know in the past, or at least from what I understand, you guys having had like the room space package kind of deal together. Like, is the room included in the bench in the booth space?
Yes, the room will be packaged just like it has been. We think that works really well for everybody. And I know a lot of people just love the fact that they are staying at the hotel that the trade show is at, so they can just roll right on downstairs in the morning.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that, not having to leave and go. But
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, we're finalizing everything right now with pricing, and we're gonna be releasing that on our website here at the end of this month. So in the next week and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, but we are definitely including the 3 nights of a hotel room with each booth, the same as we did last year. Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know, like the shipping, because people like to ship their glass and stuff out too. So.
Right. Yeah, no, we're excited. We're excited for our senior year. We're excited for the new changes, and we know it's gonna be another great year at Glass Vegas for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. All right. Well, before I'll say my goodbyes real quick on the air, and then if you guys want to hang on for like 2 seconds, I'll say goodbyes to you off the air.
Okay, awesome.
So, but yeah, thank you all so much for coming on, and I'm glad we made this work. Our back and forths and scheduling conflicts and stuff. So
definitely.
Yeah, I'm very determined, and you guys are as well. So it all worked out in the end for both of us.
Yeah, for sure. It did. Thank you. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. So next time, hope you all enjoyed this chat with the ladies from Las Vegas, and I will have all the links and information in the show notes for them. And until next time, see you all on the Wise Guy Radio Show. Take it easy. This episode is also brought to you by The Flow Magazine. Since its inception, the focus of The Flow has been to provide a bond among members of the lampworking community. This has been accomplished by developing relationships with the finest artists and sharing their techniques with you through in-depth, step-by-step tutorials. In every issue, you can enjoy great content with the hottest artists and cutting-edge techniques using the latest industry products. These features, along with the continuation of our Women in Glass edition, Glasscraft Emerging Artist Awards, inspiring gallery showcases, dynamic general interest articles, as well as health and safety information, make The Flow the leading international lampworking journal. For more information or to subscribe to The Flow, go to theflowmagazine.com. That's theflowmagazine.com.
You're listening to the Wise Guy